Here we go. Here we go. Monday morning, this is how we have to start our week right here. With a perfect 10 out of 10. Has to be. There's no other option. Who won Sunday Night Football last night? I don't even know who played. Lions. The last AL East team to win the World Series. Red Sox. This 2004 Red Sox players just beat the Yankees in the World Series as a manager. Dave Roberts. Knew that one. That's Steele in Game 3, I think it was. Game 4. Who did UConn beat in the men's NCAA title game last season? Purdue or Alabama? Purdue or Alabama? Purdue or Alabama? Purdue or Alabama? Yes. The last NL West team to win the World Series, Dodgers. All right, Wade, we're cooking. We're on to 6. Who was number 1 in last week's college football rankings? Ohio State or Oregon? Ohio State. No. No. That's so unfair. This MLB player won 2 MVPs in the 1990s but didn't reach the Hall of Fame. 2 MVPs in the 1990s, but I think that's Juan Gonzalez. Yeah, Texas Rangers legend. The last Blue Jay to win an MVP award, Josh Donaldson. Oh my God. Tell me I'm... Who did Georgetown beat for its only men's NCAA basketball title in 1984? No way I would know that, but I kind of feel like it's NC State. Okay, Houston. How many titles have Boston's Big Four teams won since 2000? Holy fuck. I don't know. A ton? I'm going to guess 13. Wow. So I missed 2. Giving me a college football question. It just is cruel. Wait, what was the answer to that question? 15? That's actually unbelievable. Fuck, man. My problem is I have too many weak spots in sports. I have too many like blind spots. College football is just a complete no. I will not know anything about it. Even the current season, I don't know. College football, really college basketball. What other ones? Baseball, I'm actually decent at. I could really get. Reader! 7 months. Send those notes to Kid ASAP. Yeah, I sent them. Baseball is history. I'm pretty good at, actually. NBA, I feel very good about. College basketball and college sports in general. And very recent NFL history. I'm probably going to struggle with. All right. we have to start here. And by the way, before we get going, I'm trying to figure out what to do with slightly early. I think every day is too much. I do. Trying to figure out. Do we go every other day? What's your favorite workout? I did medicine ball workouts and I'm dead. I've been really into bands lately. They're just better for you. I just think every day has become a little too much. Breezy with the 199 flag and picks for Luka. Who's with me? No tomatoes, please chat. You're going to get burned out so fast. It's really not even my burnout. It's more so I just saw one of the most insane tweets I've ever seen. It's more so. I feel like it's burnout on y'all's end. Not anybody in here, obviously, but the viewership has slowly gone down over time for these episode by episode, and I just feel like it's too much, personally. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays feel good to me. Just do them after every Mavs game. Yeah, but I already talk about the Mavs so much that I don't want to do like a. I haven't watched the last Penguin episode, by the way. I'll watch every single day because it's ritualistic for me and I'm at work anyways. Yeah, I felt bad because I mentioned this on my stream yesterday and people were like, no, please don't. I listen at work. But I think it's just better if it's every other day. I think every day is just too much, in my personal opinion. Or, hey, maybe, nah. I was going to say maybe there's a member incentive. Which I'm making a deadline for myself. I have to launch the new member program this week. Absolutely. Okay, let's get into it. We'll think about it, but as of right now, don't expect slightly early tomorrow. Sit on my face, you beautiful man. Okay, let's get into it. Every other day definitely gives me more to talk about. So as it stands currently, maybe do like a quick slightly less and go like 10 minutes on Tuesday or Thursday if something wild happened. It definitely gives me more to talk about and more time to prepare my thoughts, honestly. Okay, we have to talk about this just absolutely insane wave of injuries going across the NBA currently. The latest one. Fuck, I almost forgot to start recording. So many injuries in so many leagues. Are we too soft as people? No. The reality is we have become more athletic than ever. Athletes are more athletic than ever. And because our bodies are being pushed, athletes' bodies, not our bodies, athletes' bodies are being pushed to the absolute brink. We're constantly pushing the body further and further. Just naturally, I think there's going to be more injuries. To the past. Speak for yourself. Okay. Is there a way to compare injury totals from last year to this year already? I'm sure there is. I'm sure that's out there. Jimmy High Roller did a really good video about the injury stuff a year ago or so. Teams are also more cautious with injuries and stuff like that. We know that. But I really think that's it. People will point to resting or people being soft or whatever the case may be. I really just think it's I think we're just more athletic than we've ever been. Somebody had a tweet that listed like all of the injuries in the NBA currently. And I wish I saw that. I wish I had that because it is actually nuts. Who's all out? I want to pull it up before we get really into the weeds here, but that requires me going out and finding it. This is partially it, even though this feels like it's kind of ball don't stop coded. Let me hear what this guy's got to say.
Basketball has ever been due to everybody playing the same type of play style. Everybody is playing a 7 seconds or less play style, layups and 3-point shots, more possessions, more threes going up, more lateral movement up and down the basketball court, which causes more injuries because of the speed of the game is played and the style that everybody is basically, mimicking to do on the 82 game nightly basis until the playoffs comes when the game traditionally always tends to slow down. And then you have more injuries. So low management, stars aren't playing. Players are missing a lot of game. More injuries are.
It feels very ball don't stop coded, but I do agree that the regular season's more up tempo. But I don't know how much that has to do with the injuries, to be honest with you. Okay, folks, it is Monday, November 11th, 11/11. Make a wish. 9:54 a.m. Central Standard Time in the beautiful Dallas, Texas. We have a lot to go over. Just some quick little housekeeping stuff. If you are listening to this on Spotify and Spotify only, first and foremost, leave a 5-star review. Leave a 5-star review, folks. Secondly, I have decided, ultimately making the decision that I will be changing the format of this show to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Reason being, I just think 5 days is a little too much. It's not burnout on my end necessarily, although that could be a factor. But it's more so burnout on y'all's end. I don't think 5-day-a-week show is really that sustainable, honestly. You just kind of run out of stuff to talk about at a certain point. You can only talk about the same team so many times. So we are going every other day now. That way, there's more juice. There's more juice to the episode. But we will still be doing daily YouTube videos and stuff like that and all the other stuff. So, yeah, happy Skyrim Day. Oh, this is when Skyrim came out, isn't it? And the Mavs are the 11th seed. Oh, my God, it's all coming together. Wow. Glad to see you still unlocked on Mavs this season. Man, I went onto the comment section of that video. First and foremost, I have to say this. I love Nick. I love Nick dearly. I literally do. I really do consider Nick a good friend. The title of this video was nuts. The title of the latest Locked On Mavs video, why Kyrie Irving couldn't cook enough for the Dallas Mavericks against the Nuggets, is a bit crazy. I feel like it's antagonizing in some ways. I feel like he's kind of prodding and poking the bear a little bit there. The Kyrie Irving stand-up. I don't know. That's seems like you and Isaac hate each other. What? You're just fucking around. Matt is a troll. Don't listen to Matt. And then I was reading the comments. The only time I read comments is after like losses when I know people are going to be pissed off. And people are saying that Locked On Mavs, we should be called Locked On Luka because we never criticize Luka. Even though I spent an entire third of the show talking about my most frustrating part of the season is Luka Doncic. So you can't please everybody, I guess. Last time was, did Isaac get fired from what? All right, we're off the rails already here. Okay. Never truly hard on Luka and point fingers. Truly a Maverick. Luka's touch around the rim has been cooked. Yes. Okay. Let's talk here. Let's start here. The biggest storyline of this weekend, I think by a lot, is Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren injured his hip last night on a tough fall. And unfortunately, he has suffered a right, you guys bear with me here, a right iliac. Chet has suffered a right iliac hip fracture, and a return to play protocol will be provided in 8 to 10 weeks. So, iliac. No, it's an I. Iliac. It starts with an I, right? Iliac. Old lady ass injury? Come on, man. Come on, bro. Come on now. So I'm confused about the wording of this tweet. Anybody else a little bit confused about the wording? A return to play protocol will be provided in 8 to 10 weeks. What the fuck does that mean? Does anybody else not know what the hell that means? That's not saying he'll be back in 8 to 10 weeks. A return to protocol. A return to play protocol. This just means he's not coming back, straight back for full minutes. To me, that feels like we'll know more about his ramp up. We'll know more about the ramp up process in 8 to 10 weeks. Not necessarily 8 to 10 weeks. It'll be more like 8 to 10 weeks. It'll be like, okay, in 2 weeks he's going to be cleared. And then in 3 weeks he's going to be... Yeah, that's in 8 to 10 weeks they evaluate his progress and plan out how he's practicing again. Yeah, I feel like that's it. So what is that? 2 months, 2.5 months of Chet Holmgren being out. So we for sure, at the very earliest, won't see him until mid-January. Might not be back this season. I did see some people concerned that he might not be back this season. So here's a Twitter doctor. Dr. Evan Jeffries, DPT. What does DPT stand for? Doctor of Physical Therapy. Okay. He tweeted out, Chet Holmgren will be out. Who's the doctor everybody goes to? What's his name? Chet Holmgren will be out for at least 8 to 10 weeks with a iliac fracture, pelvis fracture. The key here will be if he needs surgery to fix the fracture. These injuries typically take up to 3 months to heal, and pain is a huge factor. No, not Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers isn't a real coach, doc, guys. Nor a coach. But he's not a real doctor. I know it's a little confusing, right? Because his nickname is Doc, and he still goes by his nickname as a 60-year-old. But I agree. Has our guy Brian Sutter dropped the video yet? He's usually on point with this shit. Okay, here we go. Let's actually dive into this. For my Spotify crew, you're about to be listening. We just want a quick little brief. Dr. Stutterer.
Chet Holmgren had to be helped off the court after this really hard fall early.
We are listening to what he has to say. That hip injury looks really bad.
And what the injuries could be. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Suter, and the goal in this
I just want to hear how long he thinks it might take to heal.
like joint, ligament, tendon, that sort of an injury path. So what exactly happens here? Well, of course, Holmgren gets up high in the air. Then as he comes down, his body gets sideways. You know, it's always scary in these severely bruised or contused. You're not going to do that because of the severe medical.
Okay, he's still speculating. So here's the problem. Here's part of the problem with Brian Sutter. I love his stuff. He drops these videos so quickly after an injury happens that it's still a lot of speculation. We knew a couple hours after what happened. So now this just feels like it's kind of speculation. So 3 months. These injuries typically take up to 3 months to heal, and pain is a huge factor. There's also a Twitter account out there that like compares these injuries to other times an injury like this has happened. That, you know, it'll be like, hey, this injury, you typically miss 30 games. So this is all very interesting for Chet, especially considering, you know, he's young. He's already missed an entire season. I'd have to imagine that they're playing it pretty cautious with him because this is a long-term thing at the end, but also they have a championship window of this year. So it does make you think that they might want to bring him back. And also now they're without Isaiah Hartenstein. Jalen Williams is also out. I don't know what the plan is here for the Thunder's center rotation. Because if we look here's from their subreddit. Chet Holmgren is going to be out for months now. We know that. Hartenstein's not coming back until December. J. Will has been out for a while now. Kenrich Williams is also out. So what is their big rotation about to look like? Where do we are they going to go uber small? Is that going to be the plan? I know it probably would have helped here, but Chet really needs to bulk up. This was a freaking in Chet's defense. In Chet's defense, both of his injuries so far have felt pretty freakish, you know. They have felt pretty freakish. I know it sucks, and I know because of his frame and stuff that we're gonna be super quick to be like, oh, he needs to put on weight and he needs to do X, Y, and Z, and maybe, yeah, but ultimately, I just feel like it's partially due to the fact that he's had just some weird, wonky ass injuries. So, are we gonna see like more Ousmane Dieng? Is that gonna be something we see? A lot more Ousmane Dieng? It's just hilarious. I'm looking this up on Basketball Reference, like their position estimate stuff, which I don't. People are freaking out because Luka's position estimate right now is a shooting guard, and people are very upset by that. Who gives a fuck, right? But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, according to this, has spent 10% of his minutes this season at the center position and 64% at the power forward. So, I don't know, but a big with a broken hip is very concerning for his future. Yeah, hip injuries can be alarming, for sure. So this is big. I mean, this is big for the big implications for the rest of the Western Conference, at least for the next month. You know, it looked as though the Thunder were well on their way to getting 60 wins maybe and cruising to the 1 seed. And they might struggle a little bit with this center rotation being where it is. But they also have the pieces, though, to really play small ball. We talked about this before. Playing small ball. You have to have a very specific type of player, right? You have to have a very specific type of player. Very specific type of team where you can all kind of fly around, switch, be versatile defensively. It just doesn't work. Small ball isn't as simple as just, hey, we're putting small guys on the court. Like, hey, small guys are on the court. Guys, we're going small. We're doing it. Like, you have to have versatile defenders, rangy defenders. And the Thunder do have that, so it could work. I don't know. They don't have like a prototypical small ball 5, though, is really kind of the problem. At least currently with all these guys out. So I'm a little bit and that's true. The Thunder were down by 30 points in the third quarter and had a huge comeback that did ultimately fall short, but a huge comeback that nearly won them the game. So maybe they'll figure it out. Dagnall's a phenomenal head coach. I'm sure that he'll figure it out, but that's not great because Chet was also having an incredible start to the season. I mean, he was looking like a defensive player of the year, was making a massive leap. So very unfortunate injury for him. And now we just kind of wait and see what this looks like, at least for the next month until we see Isaiah Hartenstein comes back. But I'm very interested to see it. I don't know. They're going to play so small. They're going to play so small. Alex Caruso, small ball 5? Could be. But this has been a trend in the NBA so far this season. A lot of players are injured. Kevin Durant's out multiple weeks with a calf strain. Of course, after he gamed the Dallas Mavericks, out multiple weeks. Am I salty about that? What the hell do you think? Kawhi Leonard when lists like these come out, NBA stars out with significant injuries already to start the season. Kawhi Leonard, just get him off the list, right? Joel Embiid's not even on this list, but if he was on it, he should be off it as well. Like, okay, we already know that. John Morant. What's the John Morant injury? Oh, John Morant was on crutches, but hamstring, week to week with a hip injury, with an extreme right hip flexion. Okay, John Morant, brutal injury report on John Morant. Kevin Durant out multiple weeks with a calf strain. Paolo Banchero, we already know that, out several months with, what was it, an abductor injury? Chet, hip injury, out months. Tyrese Maxey out a couple of weeks with a hamstring thing. DeJounte Murray out a month or two with a fractured hand. Zion Williamson. Again, do you really need to include him in this? Like, we already know that. Kristaps Porzingis, we already knew he was going to be out. The NBA needs to do something about their injury problem. What exactly can be done? Like, what's the solution to fixing the NBA's injury problem? Is there one besides steroids? Honestly, when people say stuff like this, what do they mean? Because Scotty Barnes out as well. Yes, Scotty Barnes injured. Like, what is what's the fix here? Because we can't like also be very, very upset and angry about players resting and load management, and then also be like, NBA, fix your injury problem. You can't be mad at both. I think this is just an unfortunate reality of where sports are at. We talked about this a little bit before we hit the record button, but athletes are more athletic than ever. They push the body to the absolute limits more now than ever. And I think that's going to lead to more injuries, especially some of these like soft tissue injuries, like hamstrings and stuff like that. Feels like there's been so many hamstring injuries in the NBA. That's am I wrong? And maybe I'm just, hamstring injuries are things all the time in baseball because those guys don't stretch and aren't usually used to running. So you get hamstring injuries there all the time. Hamstring injuries in the NFL, obviously, that's more so because the NFL is such like a stop-start sprint sport. So, hamstring injuries are to be expected there. But it feels like the NBA, like there's like a hamstring epidemic. Am I wrong in thinking that? I've never felt like hamstrings like a super major injury. Obviously, injuries that people go through in the NBA, but maybe I'm just tripping. I don't know. But it feels like hamstring injuries are becoming more of a thing now than ever. PJ and Lively are out. Yeah, that's true as well. But this isn't an NBA problem, in my opinion. This is just like an athlete problem. Pacers have had freak big men injuries. Isaiah Jackson, James Wiseman, both non-contact Achilles tears. Yeah, those two are bad as well. Basketball has so many explosive and non-lateral movements that really fuck with the knees and hips. Yeah, I mean, knees obviously in basketball. The Achilles obviously in basketball are big ones. The fix is to have a shorter season on less games. But, I mean, while I kind of agree with that, we are a couple weeks into the season, and this is the wave of injuries that we've seen. It's not like this is, we're in the dog days, and this is game number 70, 76, and, these guys are just gassed and worn out. Like, we're a couple weeks into the season. We're like 10 games into the season. And there's this many injuries. Part of it's just freak stuff. Like, the John Morant had a crazy fall. Well, we know John Morant plays like that, so it could happen. The Chet one, crazy fall, freak injury. The DeJounte Murray fractured hand. Those are always like freak, unfortunate injuries. I mean, is it wrong to ask the players and coaches to know their limits a bit? You can never tell an athlete to not go 100% on the court. It's never going to happen. There's something to be said that the body calluses through the season and gets tougher, but early everyone is soft. That could be partially part of the problem. Maybe teams taking the preseason less seriously. People say that all the time about the NFL. There's a reason why the NFL has so many injuries early on is because nobody does anything in the preseason, and then you're just ramping it up to 100 immediately. Maybe? Maybe that could be it. Can I talk briefly about the NFL for a second? I saw a video going around. That damn, I agreed with So much. And look, I know, guys, I've shit on the NFL so many times, but I've said this for a while now, and I mean it. Last year I was on some hating shit with the NFL. I was just a hater. This year I wasn't on a hater tip. I really wanted to get back into it. The problem is I think this year sucks. I anytime I watch a game, I think the NFL sucks as a product. It's an institution at this point. I know it's a ratings juggernaut. It's an institution. Everybody tunes in to watch because you have to. I've said this a million times. Everybody tunes in to watch because you have to, because everybody talks about it, because of fantasy football, gambling, whatever the case may be. Everybody tunes in. It fucking reeks, man. I'm sorry. The NFL sucks. I shitted on the NBA product a couple nights ago because of the officiating, but the NFL product is just straight up bad. It's like not fun. You have like maybe 6 good quarterbacks. Everyone's offensive line is atrocious. Even the fun young rookie quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels has been great, awesome. But like Caleb Williams, generational quarterback prospect. The Chicago Bears are a fucking monstrosity, and it's awful. Like, I don't know. It's just not very fun. I don't know. Like, the product is just awfully bad. Awfully bad. NBA has its problems, absolutely. But when it's go time and you got some of the best in the world dueling it out, there's really nothing like it. I find the NFL more fun than the NBA this year. Well, the NBA literally just started. There's no transcendent players this year. Even Mahomes has been mid, especially for his standards. That's what's really weird about it, too, is like the best player in the world is like Lamar has been great. Yeah, that's true. Lamar is very fun to watch. I would be very happy if I was a Ravens fan. I want to talk briefly. The Bucks are now, 2-8? Now, I'll unfortunately for them, they've played some very close games, a couple close ones to the Celtics and have lost. So you feel kind of okay about that. But they are now 2-8 to start this season. They've been without Chris Middleton, but other than that, they've been relatively healthy. They lost by 11 to the Celtics, where that game was competitive until the end. Then they lost yesterday by 6 to the Celtics, a game that was close and competitive. I was watching that. Giannis vibes are bad, absolutely. But I think I want to say something real quickly here about Giannis that I have absolutely believed in and thought for some times and have said, but I think now it deserves to be said. Giannis is a dirty player. Giannis is a dirty basketball player. This is just true. Now I'm saying this. Giannis right here. Not giving the handshake to Jaylen Brown, which I saw this and I thought that it was kind of a fun thing. Now, the context behind this is this came right after Giannis elbowed Jaylen Brown in the face, committing an offensive foul. Was it dirty? I don't know. The offensive foul elbows to the face things are always interesting to me because these guys know what they're doing. Like, this was the play, mind you. This was the play in this is dirty. He knows exactly what he's doing right there. No. That's dirty. Full stop. I'm sorry. Well, like, anybody who's played basketball, you know what you're doing when you're using your elbow like that. Giannis, who has posted up 1,000 times in his life, knows exactly what he's doing when his elbow gets thrown like that. So I'm just giving a context as to why that makes this so much funnier. Jaylen Brown does not like Giannis. This has been the case for quite some time. So Giannis pulls this little maneuver. Everybody's like, oh, Giannis. Because people don't watch the games. People see that like, oh, Giannis. Oh, how do you not love him? He's just a lovable dad joke, Giannis. He's just such a lovable guy. I mean, look at that. That's just funny. Gotcha. Oh, man. He's just a lovable, funny guy. Jaylen Brown didn't think that shit was funny. Here's the exact quote from Jaylen Brown after the game. Jaylen Brown on this moment with Giannis. Giannis is a child. I'm just focused on helping my team get a win, and that's what we did tonight. Giannis is a child. This also happened during the game. Giannis with a hard closeout on Tatum. Tatum lands on Giannis's foot, twists his ankle. Fortunately, I think Tatum was fine here. That one I don't think is that dirty. Now, you see here, look at Darvin Ham's face. What's going on here? Darvin Ham is on the sideline. Tatum is on the ground holding his ankle. Darvin Ham is smiling. Hey, salute. Hey, salute. But this continues a trend of Giannis being unquestionably, I think, a dirty basketball player. And you can say, oh, like he just sometimes doesn't, he's sometimes just a little too reckless with his size and stuff like that. No. This play right here is crazy. The Mike Dunleavy 3 in the playoffs when he just full speed sprints to the corner and truck sticks Mike Dunleavy. Dunleavy was also an unbelievably dirty player. So I don't really feel too bad there. But that one was absolutely crazy. But I don't think JB saying that makes him unlikable at all. I don't really think so either. Reader with the 5 gifted memberships. Being reckless at his size is part of being dirty. Yeah, I think early in players' careers like this, I think you can sort of excuse some of this stuff where it's like, hey, he's just kind of learning. Like, it is like, you know, he's so big and lengthy that, like, he's trying to find his place on the basketball court, and sometimes it can be a little out of control and lead to plays. Giannis has played too long now, and he's a dirty player. He makes dirty plays, man. He makes dirty plays. I'm sorry. His open secret, Giannis has been low-key dirty and has been rewarded for it. He does it very well with the foot positioning and cheating the casual fans, but if you play, you know that's intentional. Yeah, like the elbows, the elbow to the face, squiggly with the gifted membership. The elbow to the face on an offensive foul. He knows what he's doing, man. He does. We can pretend he doesn't. Why are Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid all really dirty? I do think Jokic has a dirty streak in him as well that people choose to ignore. Absolutely. But there are plays like that right there. Like midair grabbing at Devin Booker as he's dunking the ball. That's an incredibly dangerous play. But like you can sort of look past and be like, oh, well, he's just hustling and stuff like that, which is what people do. But that is a very dirty play. Because to be that big and physical, you got to be willing to get dirty low key. I think there is a tiny difference between dirty play and plays that are like actually legitimately dangerous versus physical dirty. Because he plays physically. We know that. He'll give you a little elbow. He'll give you a little forearm shove, a shoulder into you. You know, offensive fouls that sometimes don't get called. Sometimes they do get called. Or, you know, getting up into you defensively a little bit. That's all fine. Right? I'm fine with that. Physical play, you got to play like that. But there's a fine line, though, between physical and dangerous, dirty level of play. Embiid is kind of the same thing. Embiid will get physical with you, right? He'll give you a shoulder. He'll give you a little elbow, a little forearm shove. Just to let you know he's there. Just to let you know there. It's going to be a physical night. But Embiid's one of the dirtiest players in the league. I mean, Embiid straight up makes dangerous plays. I mean, I can't believe, like, that Mitchell Robinson injury was talked about a good amount. I don't think that was talked about enough. That was insane. That was an insane thing to do. He should have been ejected from that game immediately. Didn't he already have a tech or something at that point, too? I'm trying to remember in that game. But that one was nuts. Grabbing Mitchell Robinson's ankle midair, twisting it is fucking insane. Embiid is on some Shaq shit where he gets insecure, I think. I don't know. Rather Luka just start throwing haymakers now that I think about it. That one didn't look that dirty to me. That was just a shove in the back. That one wasn't like super dirty. These are the ones right here. These super long closeouts. Giannis is bad about this. These closeouts where it's like, hey man, you're landing on the guy's leg. The reason why I even mentioned the other two is it's fucking crazy how 3 of the greatest players on the planet are super dirty. Super dirty might be pushing a little too much, you know, but they definitely have a string of dirty plays. Just between guys like Giannis and Embiid versus guys like Marcus Smart or Drew Holiday, who will be extremely physical, but it's all part of the game. Yeah, that's a good point as well. You know, people call Marcus Smart dirty, and when you're a defender like that, you're gonna have some dirty plays from time to time. But I never really thought Marcus Smart was dirty. I just think he's one of those guys, super high motor, flies around the court, plays a physical brand of defense, and sometimes that could be. Jokic has a history. But, you know, Marcus Smart, Drew Holiday, yes, those guys are just physical players. What Jokic did to Morris was horrible. If that was any other player in the league, honestly, we look at that much differently. I think people were like really tired of the Morris twins at that point. Dunleavy's one of the worst. Dunleavy's one of the dirtiest players of the last decade plus. Luka ain't dirty, just whines too much. No, Luka's not dirty. Zaza, absolutely. Absolutely, Zaza was up there. I mean, Draymond, yeah. But no, Luka, has Luka like made a dirty play in his career? A play where you're like, whoa, what the fuck's Luka doing there? I'm trying to like think off the top of my head. Let's talk about how Gafford is a soft player. I don't want to really. Chris Paul has a dirty streak, absolutely. Luka doesn't care enough on defense to be dirty. Hey, if it was possible for NBA players to play defense on refs, Luka would be one of the dirtiest players in the league. Like for sure. We'd have hard closeouts, we'd have subtle nut taps, we'd have elbows, we'd have shoves in the back, we'd have undercutting on layups or dunks. Absolutely. Oh yeah, Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen is reformed, to be fair. Every now and then he'll relapse, but absolutely Grayson Allen. Grant Williams is interesting to me. Absolutely a dirty player. I don't know how much of that is him just like trying to do way too fucking much. Way too much. He's a bit of a goober. Jimmy has some moments. Is Ja dirty? I've never really noticed it. Those subtle nut taps are definitely the sign of a dirty player. They know what they're doing. Sabonis does a lot of elbows. That's just his offensive bag, though. Yeah, what Grant did to Tatum this year was 1,000%. 1,000% dirty, for sure. All right, let's get into some of the games last night. I'm gonna make a video here in a bit later today about the Mavs, so I'm not gonna like go too deep into the detail about that game. Not gonna go too deep into detail about that one. The Mavericks are 5-5. I mean, when the dust has settled and things calm down, 5-5 is frustrating. They are a top 10 team in both offense and defensive rating. I tweeted that out and people were like, hang the banners. Oh, they're a championship level team now. Like sarcastically. The reality is though, I mean, that is the markings of a championship caliber team. Like that's what you want to be at. You want to be top 10 in both of those. That's typically, historically, the signs that you are a contending team and you are a very good basketball team. And by a lot of numbers and a lot of metrics, they're 10th in offense currently, 7th in defense after the games last night ended, according to Cleaning the Glass. Every other site has like a different way that they calculate this. Cleaning the Glass takes out garbage time. You look at the other teams that are in the top 10 in both. The Timberwolves actually are 9th in offense, 10th in defense. They're 6-4. The Golden State, obviously they're 8-2. Memphis now 5 in offense, 3rd in defense. They're 7-4. I looked at Memphis' schedule earlier. They have played a fucking cupcake schedule, but give them props. They're here. Cleveland, 2nd in offense, 6th in defense. Obviously they're 11-0. And Boston, 1st in offense, 9th in defense. They are currently 9-2. Then you have the Mavericks, who are 5-5. And according to some of these metrics, Cleaning the Glass also looks at some of your advanced numbers and stuff like that and sort of puts out what your expected win total should be. And currently, the Mavericks have lost 2 more games than they should have to start the season. According to Cleaning the Glass, they should be 7-3 currently. So what do we take away from that? Which is last, by the way. Their win differential, this stat that they have, what's the difference between the number of games the team has won and what they would be expected based on their efficiency differential, is currently dead last. So, the underlying issues maybe not be as big as we think. And again, it is frustrating. It has been a frustrating start. And I am frustrated. But it's not like the sky is falling level of frustration. And my level of frustration isn't like, this team sucks, fuck them. My level of frustration is, it's early in the season, let's find our frustration points and let's fix them. That's what it is, right? It's like, okay, here's why I'm frustrated, let's fix it. Here's where the team has been frustrating so far to start the season. Fix it. A lot of it is Luka not being a top 2 player in the league. Absolutely. Huge part of it is that. Now, there's this ongoing debate on Twitter, and I don't even want to entertain some of this shit because a lot of it is just Luka stands, and I don't mind. You know, some of you in here are Luka stands, and I love you guys. 98% of you guys. I love you guys. But the reality of the situation on hand is when you're, talking to Luka stands, or really the standum of any player. This isn't just a Luka specific thing. LeBron stands. Steph stands. Kyrie stands. You have to understand that they're more interested in their guy versus the team and having a discussion as to what, is wrong with the team and why their guy is a factor in that. And this ongoing sort of conversation is that, well, Luka's not the point guard anymore. They have him playing off ball. His touch numbers are way down. And this is why it's not really Luka's fault. Like, it's not Luka's efficiency tanking is because he's not in a rhythm. I'm sorry. That's terrible. That's a terrible take. A full stop. I mean, that's just an awful take. That's a really, really dumb way to look at it. Okay? Because here's the reality. This stuff's not working and the Luka stuff doesn't look great because Luka hasn't been what we expect. That's literally it. Kyrie has been unbelievable to start the season, so he's having a bit of a bigger role, which is what you want. You bring in 2 guys, and Klay Thompson and Najee Marshall, who can both sort of initiate offense. You can initiate offense through both of those guys. You don't want to do it all the time, but you can do it. Those guys can bring the ball up the court. PJ can bring the ball up the court. All of this stuff, right? You bring back Spencer Dinwiddie. Hardy has a bit of an expanded role at times whenever he's on the floor. So, yes, this stuff is going to go down. And guess what, man? It's what we fucking wanted. It's what we've been wanting. And it's funny because I guarantee you, if I go look at any of these people that are crying about this, they, in the past, have been crying about Luka having to do too much. And that's why Luka's fourth quarter numbers and clutch numbers are bad. That's why they've been bad over the past couple of years. Whereas efficiency will just tail off towards the end of games because he's too tired. Too much is being asked of him. In the playoffs, it's why it feels like sometimes he's just worn down and the defensive effort wanes from time to time because too much is being asked of him offensively. Guess what? I agree with you. I agree with that take 100%. Too much is being asked of Luka Doncic, And that's why at times in games he would just tail off. And it's not a conditioning thing or anything like that. It's just too much was being asked of him. I don't think any player in the world could have sustained that stuff. Yes, I know Luka defensively, the defensive effort wanes from time to time. Yeah, and he needs to be better about that. But a big reason for that is because so much is being asked of him offensively. And I agree with all of that. So Luka seeing a decrease in the touches and what's being asked of him long term is good. It's what we need. Is it a little bit rough so far to start the season? Maybe. But you have to let this stuff iron itself out. Because if we want Luka to be a player who's contributing at an incredibly high level for the next 10 years, 10 plus years, we have to lower his usage. We have to lower his role. And what's funny is his usage rate is still incredibly high. So his touch numbers are down. And I looked because this has been said to me so many times, and I feel like I'm being gaslit, but this has been said to me so many times where it's like first quarter, Luka just doesn't have the ball. Luka's not doing this in the first quarter. So I was like, maybe that's true. So I looked. What are the usage number stuff? Is this true? Luka leads the league in usage rate in the first quarter by a ginormous margin. Luka's currently tied for the most field goal attempts per game. I don't know. I don't buy into that. I don't really buy into that. So I was going to say this is the equivalent of an NFL team starting 1-1. Yes, I think Block said that. I saw that too. And I agree. But Luka's just not making shots that you typically see him make. The offense is still way better when he's on the court, right? And he's not getting downhill at the level that we've come to expect. And like what makes Luka is him getting to the rim and finishing at the rim. We haven't seen a lot of that this year. We haven't seen the floater from Luka. We haven't seen the floater. We haven't seen him like finish with contact. We've seen him settle for step back, elbow jumpers, or we've seen him, pass out of clean looks at the rim. So I don't know what's going on there. There's definitely something to that. I don't know what it is. He might not have his legs just yet, and I'm very hopeful that that's sort of a ramp up thing and not he's still kind of dealing with lingering leg problems. He was a +6 last night. Imagine he was actually playing to his standards. And yeah, we have to say this like Luka's still playing good. Like he's still good. The Luka expectations are very high. So but when we talked about this team and this team can do this team can do that, a lot of that was, given the assumption that Luka is an MVP player, which he hasn't been so far to start the season, which would change the trajectory of this team if Luka was more towards 10 in the top 10 than he was 1. We are still a big positive in his minutes. Yeah. I was praying the complaints to the refs was over last season. But yeah, I mean, for the Mavs in general, and again, I know I just went on a rant, but I said I wouldn't talk that much. Kyrie's been awesome to start the season. He was losing that game last night where he had a stretch where he was hit 16 of his 17 shots or something crazy like that. Losing that one sucks. But Kyrie's been phenomenal to start the season. That's why I see the touch numbers down. Like, yeah, we need more Kyrie. Kyrie's been incredible. Kyrie's shooting 55% on threes. So, yeah, more Kyrie Irving. When he's going, that's why you go out and get him. Clay's having a bit of a rough patch since the first 3 games of the season. Remember, he hit the most threes anybody's ever hit in the first 3 games of the season for a new team. 21. I'm sorry, not 21. I looked at the wrong number. 15 threes. Since then, it's been a little bit rough for him. He's 28% from 3 over the last 7 games. It's been a 10-game season. So outside of the first 3 games of the season, Clay has not really played great at all. Over that stretch, 11 points on 11 shots. So he needs to see some go down. He's had some tough in and outs in his defense. He's had some tough in and outs. And yeah, these teams have played 10 games together. I want to give a shout out to the Nuggets because There was a lot of talk about their depth and stuff like that, and I even bought in. I was like, I don't know if this is going to be a championship team this year. And you know what? When Nikola Jokic is on your team, literally anything is possible. I don't know. This guy is playing at such an unbelievable level. Such an incredible level to start this season. It's the best he's ever looked, which is saying a lot because he's a 3-time MVP winner and a finals MVP. But it's by far the best he's ever played. He's hitting threes. He's 56% from three. Great, only 4 attempts a game, but 56% from three. And he never makes a wrong decision. It's like the most insane thing I've seen. He never makes the wrong choice. He makes the right read, the right pass every single time. It's just insane. He's averaging 4.5 offensive rebounds a game too. It's just been an incredible stretch of basketball for Jokic. Jokic is already in some very interesting conversations, absolutely. But if the season ended today, he's a cakewalk. It's a MVP without even a shadow of a doubt. And last year, I pushed back against a Jokic MVP because I thought Luka actually deserved it. But if this continues on this trend, I would not argue a single thing. Feels like Jokic can make threes at will, and it doesn't take into consideration of skill or what that scenario is. They just go in. Well, the thing last year was his three-point shot tailed off dramatically. The three-point shot kind of abandoned him at times last year. And he had a really rough shooting stretch. And Jason Timpf said this, and it's a really good point, where it's like, Jokic, when he's not making threes, is still probably the best player in the league, but you can make arguments and debates for other guys. But when he's hitting threes, there's really not much of a debate at all. 37, 18, and 15 in this game. Crazy. 8 offensive rebounds. A lot of those were putbacks on his own misses. He missed 8 shots, 13 of 21. How many of those did he follow up? I'd have to say at least 3 or 4. Let's look at his game logs, because the numbers are just out through the fucking roof. And before I was anti-Jokic MVP last year, I was pro Jokic MVP the years prior, and my argument always was, because people are like, the advanced stats. Yes, the Jokic defensive brigade is absolutely fucking insane about advanced stats. But I'd always just be like, why not just use counting stats? You don't have to use VORP, GLORP, and kitchen sink. Why don't you just say, hey, this guy just put up 37, 18, and 15? We don't need advanced stats. I don't need advanced stats to tell me that's fucking insane. So what is his triple-double streak? He's currently has 4 straight triple-doubles. Here are his stats. 28, 14, and 13. 23, 20, and 16. 30, 11, and 14. 37, 18, and 15. The Nuggets have won 5 straight games. Over that 5-game stretch, Jokic, 29 points, 16 rebounds, 13.5 assists. Holy shit. Through 10 games, if Jokic keeps this up, which probably not, but I don't know. I wouldn't really put too much past him. This could be one of the best seasons ever. Is that crazy to say? This genuinely could be one of the best seasons of all time. It's insane. He's doing insane shit. Crazy. It's the goatee, dude. It's the goatee. He looks like a movie villain. He looks like a shitty, Soviet Union villain from a 1980s movie. Yeah, Jamal Murray still hasn't been good, and he was not good last night either. But anyways, I'm not going too hard on the Mavs or anything, because I'm going to make a video about them here in a second. So yeah, other games from this weekend, other interesting games. The Cavs have still yet to lose, 11-0. I believe since we last spoke, they played the Warriors. Yeah, they blew out the Warriors in Cleveland. A few nights back on Friday night. That improved them to 10-0. Some other interesting stats and storylines from across the weekend. The Cavs, 11-0. I already mentioned that. Okay. For some reason, I thought they played last night too, and I was about to be like, wait, they played 3 nights in a row? But no, of course, that's not a thing. The Bucks are now 2-8, which is not where you want to be. 2-8 for the Milwaukee Bucks, who have played better basketball lately, but unfortunately, it hasn't really resulted in wins. Their defense is just really, really rough. Really, really rough defense, man. Real rough stuff. The Timberwolves are 6-4. The Heat beat them last night on a crazy, wild game at the end there. Hearing you rant about the ending of the Suns Mavs and lockdown was so satisfying. I agree with you 1,000%. I mean, I just hate that game ended that way. The Suns. So, has there been an update on Bradley Beal? We know Kevin Durant's going to miss some time, but Bradley Beal got injured last night as well. Any update on that? That was a crazy game. The Kings are 6-4. They look pretty good. Feels a little sore, but X-rays are negative, which is the best thing I could ask for, so probably just a bruise or something. Bradley Beal talking about playing through the knee injury. Okay. So Beal's probably going to be all right. Lakers 6-4. Knicks talk, please. So the Knicks are another one of these disappointing teams. Through 9 games, they're 4-5. They lose to the Pacers yesterday. Their defense is concerning, and I want to say the real reason why they're currently 24th in defensive rating. Again, super early in the season. We get all of that. Offensively, they've been awesome. But defensively, it's been a little bit rough and rugged. They're also another one of these teams where the advanced stats say that them being 4-5 is probably a little extreme. Do we ask Clay to come off the bench for Najee when PJ gets back? I don't know. But here's what's really alarming to me is we're 9 games into the season. This is game number 9. The Knicks are without some guys. They played a 6-man rotation yesterday. The Knicks did. 6-man rotation. Jericho Sims 9 minutes off the bench. Tyler Kolek 2 minutes. But basically a 6-man rotation in game number 9 of the season. Not sustainable. And it's just you ended up losing the game anyways. But just absolutely not sustainable over the course of an 82-game season plus the playoffs. I mean, this is a team that died in the playoffs last year. Died. They had a cake, and no offense to the Pacers, but they had a cakewalk to the Eastern Conference Finals. If it weren't for them being completely and totally dead due to injuries. But what's more concerning than all of that, considering what you've given up to get this guy, is Mikal Bridges really has not looked that good. They gave up 5 first-round picks for this guy. And it has not been good. Defensively, it's starting to be a little concerning because we are just kind of banking on him kind of going back to where he was on the Suns, which I thought he was kind of an overrated defender at the time. Like, because he was getting real Defensive Player of the Year shouts. I didn't think that was something that was serious. But he was a great defender, though. Don't get me wrong. And he has not been that so far. And I don't really understand what it is, to be honest with you. I don't know if maybe he's just not that guy anymore. Maybe being in Brooklyn where his defensive intensity and effort and attention to detail dropped a little bit because so much is being asked of him offensively. If that led to bad habits that he's still trying to get out of, because it's the effort going over screens for him that has been very, very bad to start this season. I'm not entirely sure. And, of course, like, when you look at their defense, everyone's going to blame Cat. And, yeah, Cat's been bad as well. But I feel like the wings are kind of throwing Cat out to dry, to be honest with you. I don't know. The Mikal stuff could be bad. Some players need to be that guy in a team to perform if you want them to play the role. They just gas out. This is interesting. And their fourth quarter offense has been really bad to start the season as well. I mentioned that in the teams I'm concerned about. I'm still not concerned about this team, though, if I'm being honest with you. I'm still not concerned at all. I mean, the East is a fucking shit show. Like, if the Knicks were in the West, 4-5, had this start, maybe I'd be ringing some alarm bells. But my God, the East is just a joke. I'm sorry. No offense. The Orlando Magic are the 4 seed, guys. The Orlando Magic are 5-6. Did you hear me? The Orlando Magic are 5-6. The Pacers are the 3 seed currently. They're 5-5 with a -2.5 point differential. I mean, this shit's a joke. Look at this point. Look at this. They have 4 teams with a positive point differential. I mean, I guess that should be surprising. They have 2 winning teams. 2 teams with a winning record. They're 10 games in this piece of shit conference. I mean, this conference sucks. God. I'm on my hands and knees begging for the Mavericks to be in this piece of shit conference. Really, I am. I'm on my hands and my knees. I mean, the Mavericks are 5-5 and they're the 11th seed. With a positive 4 point differential. That'd be the 3rd best point differential. The Mavs would be, the Mavs would be the 3 seed. Guys, the Mavs would be the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. Right now. Hey, man. Best 16 teams make the playoffs. Jump ball. Let's go. Check up. Let's go. But the Pacers would own us in the playoffs. That's true. I kind of go back and forth about this all the time. The just top 16 teams make the playoffs. It doesn't matter. We play. Because the idea of it's kind of fun to me. Because you see matchups you otherwise would never see in the postseason. Like, you could get a Mavs-Pacers matchup, which, realistically speaking, you're never going to get. Right? But then it also does away with, like, the rivalries. Because when you get, the same 8 teams from the same conferences, you get these, hey, these teams are meeting, like, the Bucks and the Celtics again in the playoffs. This fun back and forth that these 2 teams have had. Like, there's a real, the Celtics and the Heat. Like, there's a real, the Bucks and the Heat. Like, there's a real rivalry kind of there because of the postseason. The one that throws me off is the NBA Cup. I agree with you 1,000%. I don't understand why the NBA Cup is, the Mavericks are playing the same teams they play 7 times a season. Like, should the NBA Cup should be mixed up a little bit more. I agree with you 1,000,000%. I agree with you 1,000,000% on that. I don't understand it at all. I really don't get it. All right, we have kind of a mid-slate of games tonight, but that's because tomorrow night is opening night of the NBA Cup. First NBA Cup night of the season, so get ready for that. We have Cavs and Bulls tonight. Cavs look to go 12-0 to start the season. Wizards and Rockets in Houston. Nets and Pelicans. Brooklyn on the road in New Orleans is a 1.5 point favorite. Wow. How about that? Clippers and Thunder in Oklahoma City. That'll be interesting to see. That's kind of a must-watch game for me because I'm just interested to see what they you don't want to talk about OKC Golden State. We talked about it a tiny bit with the Chet injury. Kings and Spurs tonight in San Antonio. And then tomorrow, again, the NBA Cup opening group games should be a good amount of fun. Including Mavs Warriors, Klay Thompson's first game back in Golden State since leaving. That should be entertaining and fun. We excited for any of the courts unis? Yeah, I'm interested to see what they look like. I really am. So I will drop videos today and tomorrow on the channel. Be on the lookout for that. We will not do slightly early again until Wednesday. So no slightly early tomorrow morning. We're going Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Currently, just gonna see how that plays out. And we'll be live on playback tomorrow night. I don't know when I'm gonna go live yet. The Mavericks don't play until 9. I might go live a little bit earlier, just to sort of watch some of the games from across the league. If there are games going on, I might go live at like 8 or something. We'll see about that. So anyways, If you're listening to this on Spotify, leave a 5-star review. I love you. And YouTube guys, be ready to guest my video when it comes out later. So I've been working with this guy for thumbnails. You might have noticed that. He also did the thumbnail and the slightly early logo. I mean, it looks fucking fantastic. He's incredible. He's phenomenal. New NBA Power Rankings. And I want to give a huge shout out to him. Let me pull up his like creator page. His name's Jacob. JH Create. He's incredible. You guys like the new the thumbnails? Really, what I should have done is have him make me one of these. I mean, what the fuck is this? I'm just now looking at this for the first time. So anyways, I'm bringing this up to say all of these are sick, right? I ran a test because I was just interested in seeing something. I ran a test and on my Victor Wembanyama video, and this thumbnail greatly outperformed the one that was like this. Which makes me think. I wonder if it's just there's some clickbaiting going on, absolutely. But I wonder if there's just something to the simplicity of this. I'm gonna keep testing it out and seeing. No. I'm not. That's not. I mean, again, I think these look incredible. Absolutely. It's the topic. Don't overthink, bro. No. So like YouTube has this test feature. You could test out separate thumbnails. And I made a thumbnail like this for this video. And it was one of the ones that got tested. And like this specific thumbnail greatly outperformed the one that was like this. So I'm saying that I'm going to keep doing that. Like I'm going to keep doing that test feature just to see what that's all about. You know, I'm looking at these numbers because I was having like a crisis a couple days ago. Are you saying removing yourself is getting more views? I just think it's a simplicity. I don't know if it's necessarily removing myself. But these are not bad early season numbers right here. We have to understand that it's not like basketball is like it's not like the NFL when it's back. We're all super excited and shit. People don't get like really excited about the NBA until the trade deadline. That's just the truth. We obviously are a different story. Also, hovering over the simple thumbnail gets straight to game footage. I don't know how these work. Like I've always noticed that historically on my channel, we do the trade deadline stream, which is always insanely popular and very fun, obviously. But we do the trade deadline stream, and that's always like, all right, here we go. Like here we go. Now we're going. I don't enjoy the simplicity on how you start videos. You don't introduce too much and don't do a lot of over talking. Wait. Okay, I was about to say your opening statement is very conflicting with the rest of what you're saying. Okay, I do enjoy the simplicity on how you start videos. You don't do introducing too much and don't do a lot of over talking, revolving the channel the first 30 seconds. It sounds counterintuitive, but no, I agree. I'm sure that doesn't help me. But I agree that whenever I watch YouTube videos, I fucking hate when the first minute and a half is just like plugging shit. I hate it. I really do. I get that's what you have to do though. But I can never bring myself to do it. Let's get straight to business and talk. You're Your skits have been really funny lately. My skits have been good. I don't think there's going to be one today, though. Part of what I think has been my skits good is I feel like I'm not forcing any skits. If I don't have one, I'm just not going to put one in a video. Honestly, refs haven't been a problem for us. Sure, the late game Suns call is egregious. No, I agree with you 100%. The only reason I was super upset about that one was just from a NBA fan's perspective. I hated that they called that. It wasn't like that was it. But I agree. I don't think the officiating has been a problem at all for the Mavs. Some terrible calls in the Denver game as well, though. Maybe. I mean, that foul on Jamal Murray, I hate that they bailed him out there on that 3-point foul. It ended up not like really hurting because he went 1 of 3 at the free throw line. But I hate that they called that a foul. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. But whenever they went to review that, I knew they were not going to overturn that. I knew they were not going to overturn that the moment they went to a review. I agree with Kyrie late game comments that his costly turnovers in both games were gut wrenching. Oh man, the Mavs need to win tomorrow night badly. I don't know if we can go 0-3 in this tough 3-game stretch, not have any wins against good teams, because the schedule for the Mavs definitely loosens up a little bit after this, but and it'll be nice to string together wins, absolutely. But just give me a nice feel-good win against Golden State, and then we can get to this Utah, San Antonio stretch. OKC without Chet, who knows? New Orleans in their current state should be a win as well. At Denver, a chance for revenge. I feel like shit just on Derek Lively back. Oh, you and I both. All right, folks. That's going to do it for me. How about a nice clutch win tomorrow night against the Warriors? 6-5. Salute. Let's get to a couple of gimme games, or what you would like to think are gimme games. And let's salute ourselves. How about that? Paul's gifted 5 memberships. Paul said, not so fast, buddy. Paul said, not so fast. Hey, Paul. Salute. Salute. I will say, I've loved the playback streams. I have a blast on them. I really do. I think that I found my joy again. Or what's the Isaiah Thomas meme? I got my joy back. I'm using Opera. I don't fucking know, dude. I started using this a couple years ago, and I just keep using it. All right, folks, that'll do it for me. Again, chat's gotten a bit toxic at times. Yeah, I think in close games and frustrating losses, it's inevitable that the chat will be toxic. So again, we're going every other day currently for slightly early. And we'll go from there. What the fuck is all this shit? I probably have some cat fur on me because this is the shirt I rolled out of bed in. I wish I could watch them efficiently, but I don't have League Pass through League, but YouTube. Go ask for a VIP at the start of the streams. I had multiple VIPs to give out by the end of the game. Miss the YouTube toxicness. Also, I am going to start posting the VODs of those, but I'm going to make that a membership feature. Enough people have asked about it that I'm sorry. It makes sense. You missed Club Slightly Biased. We'll figure out a way to get Club Slightly Biased on playback. So I learned that you can just like stream. I don't know. We'll look into it. What we gotta do to be members? I fuck with the show. Just membership here or on Patreon. That hasn't started yet though. It hasn't started yet though. Hasn't started yet. All right, guys. Thank you all for coming out. All of the OGs, you guys know I love you very much. Could have spent your Monday morning anywhere in the world. You decided to spend it here. New subscribers, I promise you guys will not regret it. Donations, members, thank you guys so much. You never have to do that, but it helps me out tremendously, and it makes me feel so good. You guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. I will be back slightly early on Wednesday. Video dropping today. We'll be live on playback.tv/slightlybiased tomorrow. Love you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.